The moment the 8-ball disappeared into the corner pocket, the entire room seemed to go silent. I stared at the table, then at my coworker across from me, unable to decide whether to laugh, run, or pretend I had never agreed to the bet. He slowly lowered his cue, a nervous smile appearing on his face, and said, "Well, looks like you owe me a kiss." What he didn't know was that the words hit a place in my heart that had been locked away for years. Because sometimes, the most unexpected person walks into your life at exactly the moment you have stopped believing that anyone could truly see you. Before we continue, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and the possibility that one small moment can change someone's life, please take a second to like this video, share it with someone who needs a little hope today, and subscribe to Wisdom Story House. Your support helps us bring more emotional stories like this to you. My name is Marin, and for the past 2 years, my life had been almost painfully predictable. I worked in a busy advertising company where deadlines were brutal, meetings seemed endless, and everyone was always pretending they were doing better than they really were. I had become very good at pretending too. I smiled at coworkers, answered emails, finished assignments, and went home every evening to my small apartment where the silence felt heavier than it should have. A year earlier, I had gone through a painful breakup that had completely changed the way I looked at love. I had trusted someone completely, only to discover that the future I had imagined with him existed only in my own mind. After that, I decided I would never again give someone enough power to hurt me like that. Then there was Kellen. He worked 3 desks away from mine and had a strange talent for making even the worst Monday feel slightly less miserable. He was confident without being arrogant, funny without trying too hard, and somehow always noticed when someone was having a difficult day. We had become friends gradually, through shared lunches, sarcastic comments during meetings, and countless conversations near the office coffee machine. But neither of us ever crossed the invisible line between friendship and something more. I was too afraid to risk it, and I assumed he was simply being kind. One Friday afternoon, after an exhausting week, the team decided to go to a small pool hall downtown. I almost refused. I wanted to go home, change into pajamas, and forget the entire week. But Kellen looked at me and said that I had spent enough time working and deserved one evening where nobody could send me an email. Somehow, I agreed. The pool hall was warm and dim, filled with the soft clatter of balls breaking across tables and the distant sound of people laughing. After everyone else left, Kellen and I remained behind. He leaned against the pool table and challenged me to one final game. I told him I barely knew how to play. He smiled and said that made the challenge more interesting. We played badly at first. I missed easy shots, scratched the cue ball, and laughed every time Kellen tried to give me advice. Eventually, only the 8-ball remained. Kellen studied the table, then looked at me with that familiar teasing expression. He told me that if he sank the shot, I owed him a kiss. I laughed and told him he was ridiculous. He said I could choose the location and decide whether it counted as a real kiss or merely a victory kiss. I rolled my eyes, but secretly my heart was beating much faster than it should have. He bent over the table and took the shot. The 8-ball rolled slowly toward the pocket. I watched it approach, expecting it to stop at the edge. Instead, it dropped cleanly into the corner. Kellen straightened and looked at me. For a few seconds, neither of us spoke. Then he noticed my expression and immediately lowered his cue. His playful confidence disappeared. He told me I didn't owe him anything. The bet had been a joke, and he never wanted me to feel pressured. Something inside me cracked open at those words. I told him that was exactly why I was scared of him. He looked confused, so I finally told him the truth. I explained how my previous relationship had taught me to distrust promises, affection, and even my own judgment. I told him that whenever someone got close to me, I started looking for the moment they would eventually leave. I admitted that I had been keeping him at a distance because I was terrified that he might become important to me. Kellen didn't interrupt. He simply listened. Then he told me something I had never expected to hear. He said he had noticed my fear months ago, but he had never wanted to push me. He said he cared about me far beyond the office jokes and casual conversations. He had wanted to tell me many times, but every time he saw me retreat behind that emotional wall, he decided to give me space. He told me he didn't want a kiss because of a bet. He wanted me to trust him enough to choose it myself. Those words stayed with me. We left the pool hall and walked slowly through the warm evening air. The city lights reflected against the wet pavement from an earlier rain, and for the first time in months, I didn't feel like I was rushing toward an empty apartment. I felt present. I felt seen. At the corner near my building, we stopped. Kellen smiled and told me he hoped I would have a good weekend. He turned to leave, and something inside me finally made a decision. I called his name. When he turned around, I stepped closer and kissed him. It wasn't dramatic. There was no perfect music, no crowd applauding, and no movie-like confession. It was simply two people standing beneath a streetlight, both carrying fears they had never known how to explain, finally deciding to take one small chance. When we pulled apart, Kellen smiled and whispered that he had never been so happy to lose a bet. I laughed through tears. That night, I realized something important. Sometimes love doesn't arrive with fireworks. Sometimes it arrives quietly, through patience, respect, and someone who refuses to rush you when you're afraid. Sometimes the person who changes your life isn't the one who makes the biggest promises, but the one who stays when you expect them to leave. Months later, I still remembered that pool game. Not because of the kiss, but because of what happened before it. Kellen gave me something much more valuable than affection. He gave me the freedom to choose without fear. And I learned that a second chance doesn't always mean giving someone else another chance. Sometimes, it means giving yourself another chance to believe that something good can still happen. If this story touched your heart, please like the video, share it with someone who may need to hear it, and subscribe to Wisdom Story House. Your support truly means more than you know. And before you go, comment, "I believe in second chances," if you believe that kindness, patience, and one brave decision can completely change a person's life. Because sometimes, all it takes is one unexpected moment, one honest conversation, and one person willing to wait for you to become brave enough to say yes.